Well, one of the topics that we cover quite a bit here on the show and in our editorial content is data. What data do you need? What do you do with the data, and who uses it? But a topic we probably don't really cover enough is how you present the same data or subsets of the information to different types of users. In other words, how important is it that you give only the most appropriate information to different groups of people? And an expert on this topic is our next guest, Infinity QS application engineer, Eric Weisbrod. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dirk, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man.
Hey,
how's
Eric.
it going?
How are you?
Good. How are you guys today?
Pretty good. So, Eric, you probably heard my introduction there. So, when we're talking about data, we're talking about maybe a process data that you're taking from, maybe a production environment. And I think what I'm interested in is what you've talked about, what you've spoke about, is that it's important to get the right information to the right people, even if the data all comes from, let's say, the same source. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Absolutely. It's all about getting actionable information, not just data. So we may have process data, we may have product data, we might even have information that isn't measurable data itself per se. It's there for traceability reasons, or because we have certain oversight requirements, and finding out what's important to whom and what information they need to take those appropriate actions is very important. A shop floor operator needs to adjust maybe a process, whereas a quality manager needs to react to a given quality issue, whereas a quality director may need to look more at the business aspect of things and profitability and where they're running and how can they leverage their process improvements to better serve the business to keep feeding the machine. So
are we talking dashboard, something like a dashboard, or you're saying that maybe the guy on the shop floor has a different, let's say, dashboard or a different view into data than, let's say, the manager does or the CEO does, or the quality engineer? I mean, is that what we're talking about?
Exactly. The things that make sense on the shop floor, control charts, for example, are exceptionally powerful tools. We all know that. We all love them. And as we go up the chain, though, as we get further and further along, it probably doesn't make sense for your quality director or your CEO to necessarily have to look at a large stack of control charts to determine how their business is operating. We can start to boil it down, maybe using the appropriate capability metrics, or those dashboard items, things like gauges and bar charts and line graphs, where we can take a look at the bigger picture and see how things have, say, performed over a given month or quarter or even a year, to help us with those general trends, to look at some of the bigger picture items, all the while from that same data set, allowing the operator to make those up to the minute changes that they need to keep running the products that we all rely on.
Okay, and quickly here, because we're running out of time, but what's the downside of giving too much information? We talked about limiting the amount of information, giving just the appropriate information to the right people. What happens if you're going the other direction and you're giving too much information to everybody?
In a word, paralysis. I think the thing that's most challenging is people get overwhelmed and they don't know which signals to follow. They don't know when to take those actions, and it very often happens where people have lots and lots of data but don't have that actionable information. So though they have lots of numbers at their disposal, they're not able to make the decisions they need to when they need to make them. And you can sift through lots of data post-analysis. That's not a big deal, or it's possible. I guess it's still a big deal, but it's possible. Whereas, real time is a challenge.
Okay.
Yep, that's what we know as paralysis by analysis. I think is
that's right.
The term that most people use. That's right. Well, Eric, we're going to have to go right there, but thank you for joining us. I want to remind everyone out there that we're doing a webinar with you on this very topic. Dirk is going to be hosting it, and you're going to be presenting next Tuesday on the 15th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see you then. We're going to get a deeper dive into this topic and really roll up our sleeves and get into it a little bit deeper.
And if you're interested in that webinar, there is actually a link underneath the player page down there that'll take you out where you can sign up as well. So
Eric, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you on Tuesday.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Eric.
See ya. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.